Hello, hello, we should be live. Welcome along, folks, to the coverage here in Australia for Free Practice 2. Now, we are 30 minutes away from the start of Free Practice 2, and, we've had a reasonably exciting FP1 session. Quite a lot of things happened, quite a lot of takeaways from it. But yeah, we'll be having Free Practice 2 coming up shortly with all of the race simulations, most likely. This session is, of course, going to be the most representative session as to what qualifying is going to look like, what the race is going to look like, because that's this is the track temperature is going to be in very similar conditions and a very similar range to what we're going to expect in in quali and in the race. So yeah, this is the session really to top. Yeah, long time no see. Excited to see you again. Well, thank you for tuning back in. Yeah, hope you guys are doing all right. I unfortunately could not get to sleep. In between FP1 and FP2. I tried pretty hard, but no sleep, unfortunately. So I don't know if my commentary. Well, I'm going to do my best, obviously, for the commentary. We'll see how it goes and how I cope, but it should be alright. Do you know anything about what happened to Albon when he stopped and took out the VSC? Albon had a hydraulic problem. A loss of hydraulic pressure was the suspected issue, so he got stopped at the side of the circuit. His car will have been taken to the garage and they will have tried to fix it. We'll see, depending on how serious the fault was. Maybe it was just a leak and they patched the leak and then refilled the system and they should be good to go. But yes, it's a bit tough to tell as to when they'll be out. What time is it? It is 4:30 a.m. Yeah, yeah, very very early in the day. I mean, I can hear the birds outside chirping away, like yeah. Lando had a gearbox issue, so that is why he was in the garage. Fernando Alonso had a power unit issue. I like how Isaac and Lindblad are performing. Seems like they're doing pretty good. Yeah, yeah, no, they are. Um, Lindblad and Adjar, of course, fourth and fifth position. Liam Lawson has really got to pick up the pace. But we'll see. We'll see. Of course, it's only FP1. And I guess this is as close as Liam Lawson's going to get to a home race as well. Liam Lawson being from New Zealand, I'm sure there'll be quite a lot of his fans will have flown over from New Zealand to Australia to watch this race. So hopefully he can do well in front of some of his fans. Did Aston Martin end up not in qualifying? I've been hearing about the 107% rule for qualies. Yeah, I mean, we just don't really know what the Aston Martin pace is, right? Like, they are okay. I think their pace is all right, but they just can't sustain that pace for more than 10 laps without the car falling apart. So I'm sure they could take part in quali and be okay, but yeah, that's the other issue. Lawson files are in a shamble right now. Yeah, I mean it's just not well. I wouldn't take it too seriously, really. Like, yes, we were looking at old Ferrari 1-2. They're going to do so well this season, but we'll wait and see what happens in quali, right? And the same thing for Lawson. Like, if he can beat Limblad consistently, that's sort of what his aim is, right? For the season, we'll see. We'll see what he can do. They can't do more than 25 laps without permanent nerve damage. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, it's just not great, really, is it? I just don't know what to say. How have they ended up in such a situation? I mean, um, I think as a potential solution, what they could do is they could crank up the power steering, so the steering is super light, and that means the drivers don't have to grip it as hard when go through corners and going down the streets and things like that. So then the vibrations, they can sort of take a break from them. But yeah, it's still a very much temporary, like a temporary stopgap solution, to the fact that their car is vibrating to pieces. So you aren't feeling better in the race is a rubbish time for you? I mean, to be fair, it's fine. Like, there are 24 races in the season, and out of the 24, there are 4 races that are a bad time zone for me. And the races are Australia, China, and Japan, which are the first 3 races of the season, and then there's Las Vegas. And then for the rest of them, all of the other time zones are like fantastic, really. They're in the middle of the day or they're in the evening. Um, so yeah, I think it's not really the end of the world. I think it's all right. Do I have an F1 fantasy team? No, actually, I did not set up an F1 fantasy team. I mean, I did set one up last year, but I just didn't really care about it too much, to be honest. Like, I sort of just like watching the racing. I'm not too bothered about the fantasy league and things like that. I did do a bit of fantasy football when I was back at school with some of my friends, but yeah, I haven't really done much since. Welcome back. How's the nap? Well, I didn't really get much of a nap done. I tried to sleep as much, but yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of sleep was arriving. It's loud on here on the track. Tuned in for your commentary and thoughts. Ferrari's looking good. Cheering for our boy Oscar. Well, um, hope you're having a good time there. The poor opinion, and yeah, I imagine it is pretty loud out there. How do the cars sound? Do they sound good? I think with the new like getting rid of the MGUH, the cars are sounding a lot better. So I think that's a nice positive. And my thoughts, yeah, Ferrari's looking good. I mean, it's still a little bit too early to say, right? Like McLaren had their issues right at the start of the session, so maybe they've been running in a conservative engine mode all FP1. Um, Apparently, Audi have a lot more pace to deliver. Like they're going to be better than expected, according to Nico Hulkenberg when they in an interview that he gave. Um, yeah, we'll just sort of have to see, really. Maybe Aston Martin will go stick it on pole position, but they don't have the reliability to finish the race. I mean, that's not going to happen. Aston Martin aren't going to stick it on pole position, but you, the delusion could live on if you'd like. I definitely seen some people still believe that Aston Martin are just sandbagging. So does McLaren have issues for FP2 or no? It's I don't really know. Like they obviously haven't put anything out yet. We'll see. We'll see if Norris comes out or not. So that'll be the deciding factor, really. If Aston Martin's ticket on pole, I'll eat my hat. Right, fair enough. Why are Mercedes not quick? Mercedes have a history of sandbagging. They do this very, very often, and I wouldn't be surprised if in come qualifying they put the engine into party mode, and then they just drive off into the sunset. All right. Can Max win his first fifth World Driver Championship? I mean, it's just too early to know, right? Like, yeah. Okie dokes. Like and subscribe, share if and give us some love. Yeah, I mean, it would be much appreciated, folks. We're about 10 subscribers away from 231k. And yeah, as I'm sure you've heard, hitting the like button does help out the algorithm quite a bit. But yeah. All right. 19 minutes now. 19 minutes. I'm gonna keep soldiering on. By the time FP2 finishes, I'll be it'll be 6 a.m. here, and the birds will be out. In fact, there's been something really annoying me actually. I normally have my alarm set at like 7, um, and pretty often I undercut my alarm. Right, like I'm always waking up at like 6:45 or something. Um, but for the past week, there has been this bird that keeps on tapping on my window at like 10 past 6. So at like 6:10, there's this bird that's just tapping on my window all the time, as if it doesn't know that the window is transparent and it can't go through it. I mean, obviously the bird's not that smart, but it's just forcing me to have an even bigger undercut on my alarm in the mornings. And to be honest, it's just not ideal, really. Um, yeah, and anyway, um, there are so many ads. No, I just forgot to block the adverts. I do apologize. So hopefully, as long as I keep pressing the block advert button, no more adverts should pop up. I do apologize for the lack of for the adverts showing up. Dang, it's 11 p.m. I almost wondering why this. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. It's I mean, the only alternative to cake at 4:40 a.m. is I mean, what's the? I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the Le Mans clip. I know what I've got to do at 4:40 a.m. if I haven't got cake. It's a bit late in the night for anything else. All right. The window may appear to be a mirror for it. Try some stickers. Yeah, I to be fair, I could just close my window blind, or like my curtains or whatever, and I'm sure that it won't think it's transparent. Yeah. Did Aston Martin make their practice yet? No, no. Stroll did a total of 3 laps, and Alonso did 0. So yes, that's how FP1 went for the Astons. Alonso had a power unit issue. We'll see if that can get resolved. But in pre-season testing, it took them ages. In fact, upwards of half a day to get these things resolved. So it's tough to know if Alonso is going to be out for FP2, and yeah, Stroll only did 3 laps. Must have found another issue. So it's I don't know. Yeah, I mean, even the laps that Stroll did, he was 30 seconds off the pace. That is 3-0, not 1-3. That's 3-0 seconds off the pace. Ferrari are not using their upside down rear wing. They're just using the normal one. Are they sandbagging? Well, guys, look, the answer you're going to find out in 24 hours, right? 24 hours, we will have qualifying beginning. Um, and then you can find out who is sandbagging, who is not, right? I cannot give you a definite answer. Um, I know a lot of you consider me to be an F1 expert, and I guess I sort of am, but I cannot tell you if someone's sandbagging or not. Yeah. Why does the grid position look so sorted like every teammate except Piastri and Lindblad are in one position away from each other? Well, that's normally how it goes in these new regulation things because things are so sort of far apart. It's typically the first team and then they're both drivers, second team both their drivers, third team both their drivers. It was very much like that. If you look back to 2018, you would it would be very very common to see Hamilton, then Bottas in P1, P2, then Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen P3, P4, and then Ricardo and Verstappen potentially P5 and P6 in either order, and that's sort of how it went in 2018. Very very common to see that. Um, and yeah, it happens with the newer regulations when the teams are more spread apart because the driver can make less of an impact and less. Because if let's say the driver has 2/10 of a performance improvement over the standard car, then if everyone's spread far apart, they still can't gain any extra positions. What happened to the Mercedes Engineer podcast? Well, it's still sort of just in the it's still sort of just in the works. Like it's pretty difficult to get a time to work for both of us. I've got endless amounts of university assignments, and well, the Mercedes engineer has got a lot of engines to design. Unsurprisingly. So um, yeah, it's a bit tough to find the time, but we're still sort of hoping to get a time sorted out. Yeah. I just joined. Any chance you could give a brief recap of FP1 highlights? Yeah, we had an issue for Arvin Lindblad coming out the pit lane. We had an issue for Oscar Piastri where he lost power, but they restarted the car and everything was good to go. We had Alex Albon with a hydraulic issue about 10 minutes from the end of the session. What else do we have? We had Perez spin because he had like some unexpected engine braking issues. I think Perez, or it was Perez or Bottas, I'm not sure who, but one of them lost a wing mirror as well. It just flew straight off the car. What else was there were pretty good laps between Verstappen and Leclerc and Hamilton. They were all sort of competing for the top three spots. So they seem to be the team to beat from FP1, but we can't really tell for certain. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. We had more issues for Norris. He had gearbox issues. Stroll had problems, and so did Alonso. Stroll did 3 laps. Alonso did none. Yeah. Oh, but Fix, we're literally one subscriber away from 231k. Pretty well, pretty close. Yeah. Wait to do the interview till after he gets his bonus, so then you can do it on a private yacht. Well, I don't think he's that high up in Mercedes to get a bonus to go on a private yacht, but yeah, we'll see. 20 to 30% of the cars won't finish the race. That's my prediction. Well, 20 to 30% is what 4 to 6 cars that isn't going to finish the race. That seems fair enough, especially with the reliability. I think it was both Cadillac that lost their mirrors. Oh, okay, fair enough. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, we already have 2 penciled in. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we do. We do. The Aston Martins. Hmm. All right, folks. The risk of rain is 0%, as expected, and yeah, we'll be getting underway for FP2 very very shortly. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Okay. But yes, so in FP2 we will probably be seeing the drivers come out on mediums, potentially even hards. Track temperature is at 31 degrees Celsius, air temperature at 22, and yeah, they'll be looking to do some long runs and see what their pace is like in the long term. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. How long were McLaren's issues in the last session? Quite long. They were, in fact, the entire session for Lando Norris, and Piastri's ones got resolved pretty quickly though. So there you go. Yeah. Fuzz fuzz. Okay. The other thing is, I am streaming on Twitch. If any of you prefer watching over on Twitch, then it's F1 Gamer on Twitch. Yeah, yeah. Twitch emailed me, I don't know, a few weeks ago saying that, oh, we could just give you, we can immediately just give you Twitch partner, and we can set you up on Twitch. So I thought, why not? As long as my internet's good enough to stream on both YouTube and Twitch, which it seems to be honest. It seems to be going quite consistently today. Should be all right. Do you think McLaren are going to do better in FP2? Yeah, I think so. Mercedes powered cars are cooked. What might be the reason? I mean, it could be loads of different things, right? It could be the temperatures. Maybe they're not doing so well in the higher temperatures here in 22 degrees Celsius. Maybe they've all got way more cooling. It doesn't seem like that though from the cars. Maybe they're all just running lower engine modes. Or maybe their car just isn't that quick, guys. Maybe their engine isn't that good. After all of the hype of the 18-to-1 compression ratio, maybe their engine just overall isn't that great. Who knows? Is Sky Sports Italia streaming this? It's not Sky Sports Italia, it is Service TV. So, what you want to do is connect to an Austrian VPN server. And then once you've connected to the Austrian VPN server, you just go onto Google and search Service TV, and you'll be able to watch the coverage. Time is it for me? You seem kind of tired. It is 4:53 a.m., so nearly 5 a.m. And I have had, I think maybe an hour of sleep. Yeah. So that's why I look tired. Yeah, unsurprisingly. um, but it's all right. Yeah. Okay. 6 minutes now till we get cars out onto the racetrack. So that'll be great. Yeah. Ferrari's looking quick. Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. Um, But will the pace translate over to qualifying, or will someone else be able to pick up the pace even more than Ferrari will when we get to quali? You know, has someone else got a party mode saved in their engine power maps? Because that could happen, right? We could have Red Bull have a party mode set up in their power unit that they just haven't shown to anyone, because they were going very quick through the speed traps, right? If you remember back to preseason testing in Bahrain, the speed traps that you were seeing from the Red Bulls was pretty dang quick. So who knows? But looking at the speed traps in FP1, Ferrari were looking really quick. So it's difficult to say. You can take a 5 minute nap. I really can't take a 5 minute nap. As in, I tried to get to sleep between FP1 and FP2, and I just couldn't get to sleep. And yeah, I mean it's fine. Like I'll just go to sleep once once FP2's over. All right. Yeah, wind isn't too strong or anything like that. It's the same 3 kilometers per hour. So not really particularly anything major here in Albert Park, and yeah, no chance of rain. Track temperature's 31 degrees. Oh, also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, my Instagram is F1gamer underscore official. Let me just double check. Yes, it is. So if you guys do want to follow me over there, send me a DM or anything like that, feel free to do so. I've got a few DMs here actually. Yeah. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are around the world. We are 3 minutes away from the start of FP2. Who shall we talk about now? Maybe let's talk about the Alpines. You know, how are the Alpines going to fare this season? Um, we've got Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. Gasly's a pretty solid driver. Colapinto, maybe not so much, but they've got the Mercedes power unit for the first time. They sort of gave up on their own power unit after the end of last year. And are they going to be the slowest team with the Mercedes power unit? Are they going to be quicker than the Williams? It doesn't seem like they're going to be quicker than the works Mercedes or the McLarens. But yeah, will they be the slowest? Will they be quicker than Williams? Tough to say. Your face signifies the start of the new F1 season. Feels like yesterday was the last race of the F1 25. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I've still got my suit here, but no, it's. I did say though. I did say that if Charles Leclerc wins the first race of the season here in Australia, I'll be wearing the banana suit for the Chinese for the race in China. So I, by the looks of it, I'm gonna have to get ready to order that because it's looking pretty solid for Charles Leclerc. Dang, that sunshade in your room is crazy lighting. It is not a it's not a sunshade. You might actually I'm not gonna be able to move the webcam, but if I put on my glasses, you might be able to see it. You can sort of see this lighting in my eyes. It looks a bit like the Singapore Grand Prix track, and that's because it is. Yeah. Um, it's like an LED strip in the shape of the Singapore Grand Prix racetrack, and I can change its color. So I can change it to whatever, right? Like pink or purple or blue, but I'm gonna set it back to the normal color. Um, yeah, that looks all right. Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can see that we've got drivers lining up at the end of the pit lane. We're about to go. We're about to get running for FP2. How much was it? I got it for free because I was advertising it on the stream. But to be honest, I think it's like it's way too expensive. Like I think it's probably $150 or something for like an LED strip in the shape of a Singapore racetrack. Like I'm sure you could make that yourself for a lot cheaper if you wanted to. Um, yeah. Anyway, cars coming out onto the circuit, right? Hulkenberg first out onto the track. Oh, I don't know why it says FP1 there. Hulkenberg out onto the track, then Hamilton, then Norris, then Gasly, then Colapinto. All right. Yeah, like it's a bit excessive to be honest. Like I'm sure you can make it yourself for much cheaper. Oh, we want to see the radio. Oh yeah, apologies, folks. I forgot about that. There we go. Okay. Hulkenberg win would feed generations. You are correct. You are correct. It would be totally life changing if Nico Hulkenberg got a race win. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Got any link to watch F1? I will post a link to Proton VPN, and it's $1 for the month, and then you can watch the first three races of F1 for $1. So pretty good deal. Um, yeah. The instructions to watch are just that, so you can pause up on the screen and you can sort of see. Um, but yeah, okay. Yeah, it'll be race sims most likely, and we'll see if the Astons come out. It seems like George Russell stopped in the end of the pit lane, and there's some sort of problem there. They're taking off the front wing. Why are they taking off the front wing for George Russell? It seems like he's stalled the car or something coming out of the pit lane, and they've just taken the front wing off, and now they're bringing a new front wing on. Okay. Unless they told George to stop and were like, oh, oops, we put the wrong front wing on, we need to change it. Um, that's a bit odd. Oh, okay. No, it looks like he got damaged. Looks like he hit. I think he hit one of the racing bulls, and that's why they've changed the front wing. Okay, makes sense. I mean, Russell says this guy's just hit my front wing. Like Russell, mate, you sort of just drove right in front of him. So don't know what you're doing there, mate. Yeah, like it's a queue for a reason. You can't just jump the queue, mate. I don't know what George Russell's doing. Yeah, they got to exchange insurance details now. Exactly. Big hassle, big hassle. Oh, we got Stroll coming out onto the racetrack. Okay. Is that why they deployed the yellow flag? Because Stroll was coming out onto the racetrack. Seems appropriate. He's a slow moving hazard. But no, he's out on soft tyres, this Stroll. He fully just turned into me. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. All right, Lewis Hamilton, top of the times, 121.5. Looking good, looking good. No, they've got a yellow flag because oh, that's a pretty big lock up there for someone, and the Alpine going very slowly down the straight. That was Franco Colapinto. That was why there was a yellow flag there. Right. Welcome to the year of the horse. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Antonelli 7th position there. Someone just DM'd me on Instagram saying, "Is this the real F1 gamer?" Well, I mean, I did mention that this is my Instagram on stream, so you know, yeah. Right, we've got yellow in the pit lane now. What's this yellow in the pit lane for? Hadjar up into second position, 7 tenths back. Oh, Antonelli, purple sector 1. He got his previous lap deleted for exceeding track limits. So we got Lawson up into third. And George Russell looking pretty good in the final sector, actually. There we go, P1 for George Russell, 121.3. Let's see what Antonelli can do coming out of the final sector. Yeah, I think the yellow flag in the pit lane was for Max. He just sort of stopped in the middle of the road. I think we may still have a yellow in the pit lane. Yeah. Max is just I don't know, something's going on there. But he more problems, folks. How is there so much going on? It's only FP2. Well, it's a new season, new regulations, and that's why. Yeah, something wrong with the engine. I mean, we can look here at the data, and it's saying that he's in first gear, but he's got no throttle application, no brake application. Yeah, I don't know. Antonelli goes about a tenth back from Russell, so yeah, Russell is top of the times. Mercedes stop sandbagging. Yeah, maybe. And they're on hard tyres as well. Are Aston Martin cooked for the entire season? I think the entire season is a bit of a probably not for the entire season, but they are going to be set back quite significantly, and yeah, I don't know really how long it's going to take them to fix this vibration issue that they've got. But Alonso's still not out onto the circuit. He had a power unit issue in the morning for FP1. They've had an hour of FP1, 2 hours in between then, and still no sign of Fernando Alonso in the first 10 minutes of FP2. Yeah, they're pushing Max Verstappen back to the garage now, so they've picked him up off the from the end of the pit lane, and they've put him onto a few rollers and then taken him back. So looks like Russell's going even quicker now. 28.371 in the first sector. Right. Oh yes, the other thing. Hamilton just goes a little bit quicker. Hamilton goes 4 tenths quicker, actually, not just a little bit, quite a bit quicker. Pretty solid there from Lewis. And just looking at the results from FP1, the quickest lap that we saw from FP1 was a 120.267. So that was Charles Leclerc going approximately 7 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton's best lap now, but you have to consider that it's hard tyres right now compared to soft tyres for what it was before, so it's going to be a 7 tenth of a difference is about the same. My favourite driver is Seb Vettel. Yeah. Alright, Hadjar up into fifth. Am I planning to attend a race from the grandstand or trackside? No, I haven't. I haven't sort of made any plans. I mean, maybe I will, but I think I'm just going to carry on streaming as much as I can. Really, um, we'll see how many races I can go without missing. I don't think I've missed a race since 2024 now, so pretty good. Charles Leclerc up into fourth position. I don't think I've missed a stream since 2024. Um, so would like to keep that record going. However, I think it will probably come to an end once I get a job. Well, once I start my job. Um, Irons Wide Liz, thanks for joining the channel membership into the podium finish. Much appreciated. Glad to see you back on the channel. Yeah. Track temperature is 31.5 degrees Celsius. Yeah. I see your mirror. Yeah, I mean, it is on my webcam, so you can sort of see the mirror. Anyway, Stroll didn't even finish a lap. Stroll just went out and then came back in on the next lap. Right. I mean, incredible from Aston Martin. How are they going to take part in quali if they can't even complete a lap during practice? This makes no sense. What's my name? My name is Larry. Mm-hmm. They're here so just so they won't get fined. Yeah, it's just not great, is it? Antonelli goes about a tenth up on Hamilton. Yeah, this was the thing that I was sort of suspecting a little bit. I think that the Ferraris will be good in quali, and I think the Mercs will be very good in the race. That is my sneaking suspicion. But we'll just have to wait and see, really. The Honda engine is so shaky it gives the drivers no. Well, I think that's a bit of a simplified way of putting it. The Honda engine on the dyno itself, right, is totally fine. Like if you're running the engine on its own, it's a-okay, and the vibrations are very limited, very minimal, and sort of what you'd expect from an engine, right, that's outputting that much horsepower. But then when you go to attach that engine into the car, with the way that the chassis flexes and the way that the force is applied from the engine and the frequency and how often that force is applied and in which direction and all that stuff, when you combine all of those things, the chassis sort of amplifies the vibrations of the engine. So it's sort of like, right, when sometimes you've got you've got a speaker playing, and if you were to put a pillow on top of the speaker, it muffles it, right? It de-amplifies it. But then if you put the speaker on a like a hard surface, like if you point it at a wall and it bounces off the wall, it can sort of make an amplifying effect. It's sort of like that, really. And yeah, that's essentially what's going on with the Honda power unit. The chassis is combining with the engine to make the vibrations terrible, and that's why the drivers are having so much problems, and that's why the entire car in of itself is so unreliable. Piastri just goes 20.6, and that's hard tyres for him as well. So that is 2.5 tenths clear of Lewis Hamilton. All right. Do I study engineering? Yes. I'd love to work in Formula One. However, the Formula One teams probably won't let me work in Formula One and also keep the YouTube channel going. Given that everything that I'll work on in Formula One will be very private and very secret and all of that stuff. And then going to broadcast on the weekends about Formula One probably isn't ideal. So for that reason, I'm not going to be working in a Formula One team. But I will be working somewhere else. Mate, I would very much appreciate if you don't spam. Who do you think's going to answer? Who do you think's going to win the season? Well, I'm just not going to answer your question because you've spammed it. So, right. Whereas Max, he's in the pit lane. He had an issue with his car as he was leaving the pits. He couldn't get the car going after he stopped. So yeah, he's back in the pits. Alonso is out onto the racetrack. You can see there driving through turn number 3 now. Yeah, finally. All right. Well, good to see that they've fixed the car. Let's see what speeds he's getting up to, what gears he's using. He's up into 7th gear, up into 8th gear. Lifts off the throttle a little bit as he approaches Lawson, but seems like he's doing all right. I mean, it's still a bit odd that he's in 8th gear and going 260 k's, but anything to do to reduce the vibrations, to be honest. What happened to Alonso? Alonso had issues in FP1 with his power unit and did no laps, so that's why we're a bit surprised that he's out right now. Russell is out on soft tyres. That should be exciting. Aston Martin forgot where it hid their pace. Yeah, they were doing so much sandbagging and hiding of their pace. They lost it. When will qualifying be? Qualifying will be in 24 hours' time, folks. Let me just double check. And yes, qualifying will be taken right now. We will have the final in 24 hours' time. Right now, we'll be having the final 2 minutes of Q1. So whatever time it is in the world for you right now, that's the time you got to be awake tomorrow to watch the qualifying. I'll be streaming. I'll be live. So yeah, I hope to see you there. Banana Goat, guess who's back? How you been doing? Thanks for the donation, buddy. And I've been doing good. Had a nice off season. Pre-season testing was pretty fun to commentate. Yeah. Been going along with university. Got quite a bit of stuff to do, but enjoying it. Yeah, thanks for the donation there. Right. As a newbie fan, is sandbagging normal in F1? It's normal up until the first race of the season. Up until qualifying happens, sandbagging is a very, very common thing. Aston should show up on Sunday in a DB5. Well, I think the fastest Aston Martin that we're going to see out on the track is going to be the Aston Martin safety car, to be honest with you. At least that one's not going to break down. Yeah. Lando Norris across the line, 14th position for him on those hard tyres. So clearly some big difference there between him and Piastri. Some very clearly different fuel loads, because there's no way that the gap between those two drivers is 2 seconds. And Russell is purple in the first sector, unsurprisingly, given that he's on soft tyres. Let's see what lap time he can put together. Keep in mind that Charles Leclerc did a 1:20.2 in FP1 on a fresh set of soft tyres. So let's see what George can do. He's looking pretty good in sectors 1 and 2 so far. All right. And yeah, just now making his way through turn number 13 and 14. It's quite the tricky final sector, especially when your tyres have overheated a little bit. But seems like George Russell's kept it under control, and he comes across the line at 300 kilometers per hour, purple in all 3 sectors, going about a tenth and a half quicker than what Charles Leclerc's time was from FP1. Fernando Alonso went right back into the pit, so did the exact same as what Stroll did. Went out, did an out lap, then did an in lap, came into the pits, and has been in the pits ever since. We'll see what Antonelli can do. Antonelli in the first sector is only like 11 milliseconds down, 12 milliseconds down in sector number 1. His sector 2 is looking pretty solid so far. He's got a very nice exit and a lot of straight line speed by the looks of it, as he goes about half a tenth down from George Russell there. quite a bit of commitment through turns number 9 and 10. And just the final sector remains now for Kimi Antonelli. Where's Cadillac times? Well, it seems like Sergio Perez has got some issues with his car. Bottas is 5 seconds off the pace, but yeah, we don't know if they're actually going to be a full 5 seconds off, or if they're sort of sandbagging, or what's going on there, or if they haven't done a full attack lap. But Kimi Antonelli a 120.227, so that was, I think that's just about nearly the same time as what Charles Leclerc did. Yeah, within a few milliseconds. It's within 40 milliseconds of what Charles Leclerc did in FP1. So, but he goes quicker, just as a reference point. So, yeah, the track is, of course, quite a bit cooler, though, I would like to point out. So at the end of FP1, track temperature is up at 37 degrees Celsius. It's now down at 31 or 32 degrees Celsius. So there's about a 5-degree temp difference, which can, of course, explain some of the pace difference between FP1 and FP2. It's 4 seconds over the 107% rule. Well, you look at it and you've got your quickest laps being 1 minute 20, so that is 80 seconds, and then 1% of 80 second is 0.8, so 5.6. 5.6 seconds is what you're looking at for this 107% rule. Yeah, 5.6 seconds. What's the difference between the hard and the soft this regulation? I mean, it's pretty standard. The soft tires are more grippier, but they wear out quicker, and the hard tires are more durable, but they're a little bit slower. Isn't George looking a little bit too happy over the radio? I mean, I didn't see the previous radio messages that you were probably referring to, but no, George Russell has been very, very happy. And I was talking about this in pre-season testing. Really, he just seems awfully too happy to be a person that's not got the quickest car on the grid. Yeah. So maybe that's maybe they have the quickest car on the grid and they're just hiding it. Is Max out of the session? I'll try and get some information about what Max is doing. Typically, there'll be a few people on F1 Twitter that will have already posted about what's going on with Max. But it's Oh, this is why Aston Martin are doing no laps, guys. Aston Martin only have 2 functioning batteries and they are already in the cars. So Aston Martin have Aston Martin, they have their vibration problems with their cars, right? And they and they literally only have 2 functioning batteries, and that is all that they have right now. And they're both already, one in Stroll's car, one in Alonso's car. So that's why they're barely doing any laps, because the more they drive around, the more vibrations they've got, the more likely the battery is to get damaged, and that means the less laps they can do in the race and during qualifying. So that's why they're just sat in the pit lane. No spare parts whatsoever for the batteries for Aston Martin. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. There's a sensor issue on Sergio Perez's car. That's why he's currently in the garage. Cadillac is expecting to get Sergio Perez out of the garage within by the end of the session. So they've got about 36 minutes to get that sensor issue resolved and then send them back out again. But typically these sensor issues, the best way to resolve them, at least during a race, is to just turn off the sensor and just call it a day. But sometimes, obviously, you need some of these sensors to actually have the race car work properly. So they'll be working away to find a fix for that one. Yeah, it would be nice to see the batteries, but unfortunately, the FIA aren't releasing the data to the public. So I'd love to show you, but yeah. Arvin Lindblad goes up into 8th position. Nicely done there. Yeah, okay, folks. If I do have any more news, then I'll let you know. If the Why did the batteries get removed from the broadcast? Well, no, the AWS will still try and predict how much battery percentage people have got, but it's not an official stat that we normally get, right? You know, from the speed that we get from the drivers going through the top speed, like that's an official number from the FIA, saying the drivers are going at this speed, and the same thing for the which tires that they're on and how old the tires are and things like that. It's not an official battery number that we're going to get from the FIA. It's just going to be a guess made up by AWS, and most likely that guess will be wrong. How can I watch FP2 using a VPN? What you do is you connect to Service TV. So you get Proton VPN for $1 a month. You can join an Austrian VPN server, and then once you join the Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google and you search Service TV F1, and it pops up and you can watch it. So yeah, that's the best way to do so. Kimi Antonelli improves, goes into the 1 minute 19s. Very, very nicely done. Second and third sector improved there for Kimi Antonelli, and finds himself at the top of the times ahead of his teammate George Russell. Do you think this season's cars were able to clock last season's pole time? Well, no, last season's pole time was 1:15. I think we're going to get down maybe into the 1 minute 17s if we're lucky. So, yeah, I think 1:15s is a bit out of reach. Bahrain is at a risk if the war where else could be raced. Well, it's a bit difficult to come up with things on such a short timeline, such a short schedule, right? Like Formula One is a huge sport, a logistical nightmare, really, to organise all of these different things, right? Pirelli have to fly the tyres out from wherever the Pirelli's factories are. The teams from all over the world have to send their parts around. So what we could see happen is that we do double races at racetracks that we're already going to. If you guys remember back to 2020, we had double races in Austria. I think we had double races in Silverstone, and a few more racetracks where we had a double race. We had double races in Bahrain in 2020, I think. So yeah, like that is a possibility, because with the situation in the Middle East right now, the race in Saudi Arabia, the race in Bahrain are both sort of up in the air a little bit. So potentially they could find a replacement. Potentially they could continue on and hope that things get neutralized by then. But it's tough to say really, and I'm not really an expert in geopolitics, so I don't really know what's going to happen. Okay. The race in Portugal is happening next year anyway, so they could, but obviously it's a big thing that has to get agreed on probably right now. They've got to agree on, we are going to cancel this race, we're going to go somewhere else. But will they cancel it if they're getting paid huge amounts of money from Bahrain and Saudi Arabia? I don't know. Unknown average student, any streaming website? Well, mate, it's just not a very good idea to spam in the chat. Um, 31 minutes remain of this session. Sergio Perez in the pits because he has got a sensor issue with his car, so that's why they have not sent him out yet. All right, let's see. Have we got any more news about what's going on here? No, not that no more news I've seen just yet. All right, Verstappen comes across the line on 122.2, so he's back out onto the circuit after having his issue at the start of the session. Hamilton goes third fastest in sector number 1. He's about 1/10 slower than George Russell. What's the issue with Max's car? Well, I don't know what it was, but he's currently out on the racetrack right now, just behind Borta Behrman. There, you can see at turn number 4. He's just backed off now. Yeah. Is there any way to get service TV in English? Unfortunately, not. So the best way to do it normally is to mute service TV and to listen to me talk. Yeah. Yeah, Leclerc goes purple sector 2. Let's see what the Monegasque can do. He goes about, what's it, half a tenth up? Yeah, half a tenth up on Antonelli. Lindblad goes second fastest in the middle sector, which is pretty good, but of course that part is very sort of based on straight line speed, so if you get a tow, you get a lot of lap time for free. Third position there for Charles Leclerc. And he is in fact slower than what he was in FP1, even though track temperatures track temperatures are lower and the track is more rubbered in. So I wouldn't, it's evidently clear to see that Ferrari aren't attacking as much as they were in FP1. Hamilton has got a new race engineer, that is correct. Surely it'll get cancelled due to a logistic issue. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't think there are any flights flying into Bahrain right now, so but the situation can change pretty rapidly, right? So it's tough to say. Yeah, Hamilton purple in the first sector. Second sector is green, and let's see what he can do now coming through the final sector. Will the races be cancelled or postponed? Well, if they postpone them, they are probably going to have to organise like a quadruple header or like 5 races in a row or something. I could see what they do is because the final few races of the season are in Qatar and then Abu Dhabi anyway. It'd be all right, I guess, to have Bahrain and Saudi there maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they'll announce it because they'll have to announce it relatively soon, so the teams can plan their logistics and things like that. Right, Hamilton improves up into third position. Yeah, I mean, it could just be a 22 round season, right? They could just cancel 2 races and we race 22 races in the season rather than 24. Like, it's not the end of the world. Service TV is showing the video currently unavailable. If you try watching it from an incognito window, that might help. Max goes up into 7th position. I live in the Middle East. The situation is getting better, and they've started passenger flights again. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's tough to know what's going to happen in the future, and especially when there's large swathes of money involved, then what could potentially be the right thing to do doesn't get done, and yeah, we'll just sort of have to see what happens really. Okie dokes. Yeah, Lindblad is looking very, very good indeed. Some really good pace there from Marvin Lindblad. He's pushing the car all the way to the limit as well. You can see using all of the curb, taking all of the entry as well, like all the way up to the white line. And I must say, the Racing Bulls does look like a very nice car. The livery is very much like the sort of special liveries that we got for the racing Red Bull team, like the Honda Japan special liveries that we had. It's very much like that, and I do quite like it. Is Piastri going to set a flying lap? Well, he's out on a fresh set of soft, so I suspect so. Here in front of his home fans, give them something to cheer on for. Currently in 5th position, it'll be nice to go top of the times for Oscar Piastri if he can do so. So here comes Piastri in through turn number 1, and well, looks pretty good through sector 1, and you can see there a purple mini sector as well to his name as he goes through the first corner, and turn number 3 as well, pretty late on the brakes by the looks of it for Oscar, so not too shabby there. Apparently the Ferrari rotating wing is being optimized. It'll be ready hopefully in Miami. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk, right, of that rotating wing. Apparently a few other teams are going to try and replicate it. We will just have to wait and see. Because that is the thing, right, with the rotating wing, you've got to make sure that the whole thing rotates within 0.4 seconds, and it does that every single time, because if for whatever reason it takes 0.5 seconds to rotate on one occasion, you know for a fact one team is going to lodge a complaint saying that, this, you broke the rules, and we can measure it looking at all of the webcam, not the webcam, like the camera footage, right? The onboard footage. We can measure how long it took for the thing to spin around, and if it took more than 0.4 seconds, then Mercedes will be there complaining. So Piastri goes top of the times, 119.729. And he's 0.2 clear of Kimi Antonelli. So seems like the McLarens have got some pace, but is it enough pace to hold off Charles Leclerc, who's just gone purple in the middle sector? It might be, because the first sector from Piastri was monstrous at 27.8. Charles Leclerc is 0.4 down just in the first sector alone, compared to Piastri. And right, here comes Charles Leclerc. Then what speed does he cross the line at? 304 kilometers per hour. Stays in 5th position. Lando Norris is having issues, that is correct. All right. Piastri winning in Melbourne. Yeah, I mean that'd be nice for him, of course. Last year, unfortunately, he didn't get to win in his home race. He did score some points, but that was sort of the least that you could really ask for, given the car that he had. What are they feeling Piastri? Why is his first sector always so good? I think he's just got so much commitment through the first corner. That, I think, is the deciding factor for Oscar Piastri. Just carrying loads of speed, because if you can carry speed through the first corner, then you are carrying it all the way up towards turn number 3, which is a huge chunk of lap time that you're going to gain. Am I sick? Yeah, I am. I'm a little ill, but I'll be fine, really. Just a little cold. 22 minutes remain. Sergio Perez yet to come out onto the circuit due to a sensor issue. Alonso has completed 6 laps so far. Lance Stroll has completed 9. How Mercedes looking better than they were in the morning, but it's still hard to tell how much of their pace is due to the track temperature being lower than when the Ferraris were doing their laps in FP1. So yeah, we don't really know. Oh, we got 6,800 people tuned into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And yeah, I'll be commentating for... Oh, there's that Hamilton going all over the gravel. It is. On the exit turn number 3. Overshot his braking point. Did a lot of locking up. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, we got 6,800 people tuned in. That is pretty mega for a practice stream. So yeah, hope you're all enjoying. If you have any other like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. And yeah, I'll be commentating for the rest of the season. Every practice session, every qualifying session, every race session, I'll be there. Yeah. All right, this is here. This is it. Okay, so Piastri is at Strat 2 now, standard style lap, completely clear track ahead. Let's go. Okay, so this is interesting then. If they're saying Strat 2 for Pierre Gasly, so maybe I think Strat 2 might be might be your sort of normal mode, like your normal mode that you're going to be running most of your race in. Because yeah, if they say standard style lap, completely clear track ahead, that seems to indicate that. So we will, we'll see. We'll see what their pace looks like there for Pierre Gasly on this lap. And that's something to keep in mind. So for the Mercedes power unit, Strat 2 seems to be just a normal race power level. Aston is within 107%. Yes, well, Alonso is within 107%. Stroll isn't, but I suspect that they will be once once they actually decide to drive a little bit quicker. Yeah. Did I get the job? I did. I did. Yeah. After a lot of applications, I did get the job. So that was pretty good news actually. Um, yeah. Thanks for asking, buddy. All right. Most drivers sat in the pit lane right now. We've got, as you can see, Anthony and Russell doing some long runs on some hard tyres. We've got Norris out of fresh, out of soft. So after having some issues earlier on in the session, he's doing some quick laps here. We have got Gasly doing his standard style lap of a 122.1. So that seems to be maybe race pace, like 2.4 seconds off on low fuel or something. So that's good there from him. And Lindblad and Lawson are doing, by the looks of it, I don't know, 8 laps on hard soft, 8 laps on 6 laps on softs. Not sure what job. Well, I have got the I obviously I can't say, right, like I haven't talked to the company about what their policy is on can I say, can I not say what I do. So but yeah, I do an engineering degree, right? So you guys can sort of guess what I'm going to be doing. It's not for a Formula One team, and yeah. But my interviewer did ask me what I thought of Oscar Piastri. So that yeah, there you go. Yeah, during the interview, I got asked what were my thoughts on Oscar Piastri. So that was an interesting interview question. Never had that one before. Anyway, yeah, Ocon and Behrman out onto the circuit as well. Bottas lapping around, the sole Cadillac that is lapping around, and Hulkenberg as well on some medium tyres doing some long runs. All right, Lando Norris improves up into 7th position. Nice job there from Lando. So your Oscar's future race engineer. I mean, look, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. Well, no, I'm not really in big trouble, but I just haven't confirmed if I am allowed to say or if I'm not allowed to say. So, it's best not to. It's best to not say. Yeah. All right. 16 minutes remain. Yeah. Best of luck, whatever it is. Yeah. Thanks. Um, I'm sure it's going to be quite strange, really, going from university where I've really got sort of no real responsibilities apart from submitting my assignments on time, to working, working in an office, from like 9 to 5 and things like that. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Do I like Australia? Yeah, Australia's quite a good track to be fair. Nice place to start off the season. Always nice and sunny, apart from well last year when it rained. But no, it's a good track. I think with the changes that they've made as well, it's obviously very high speed, but it makes it pretty difficult to overtake because you've only really got big braking zone at turn 11 and then a big braking zone at turn 3. So two potential opportunities and two high speed corners before them, like turn 9s and 10, relatively high speed, turn 1 and 2, I'd say a bit medium to high speed. And that means that you have the biggest effect of dirty air just before your overtaking zone, which is a bit sort of counterintuitive and makes the racing a little bit harder and worse. But, there's a limited set of things that you can do on a street circuit, so I think it's all right. Are you aware that the speed trap only goes up to 20, not 22 drivers? Yes, I am actually aware of that. Um, and I was trying to figure out how to fix it before the stream went live, but I haven't figured out how to fix it yet. Um, basically, I'm recording from the top of my screen all the way to the bottom of my screen, and then it sort of just scrolls along the screen to show you all of the top speeds. But all 22 drivers don't fit on my screen, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out to get that to work. When do I start my job and how will it impact my YouTube channel? Well, I would start in September, so still a long time away, right? And how will it impact the channel? Well, I hope to carry on streaming, but I imagine I did look, and I think the Azerbaijan Grand Prix is like within like the first 2 weeks of me starting, so I don't really want to be taking days off like in the second week of me working somewhere to commentate. So I might have to miss like the practice sessions for Baku, but I think for the most part I'll just be able to take some time off or something. And obviously the rest of the season is still on Saturday and Sunday, right? So it should be fine. Anyway, that's enough about me and my job and my, whatever I'm doing at university, right? We're back here for Formula One, right? So 13 minutes left on the clock for FP2. The wind has really started to pick up, actually, 12.6 kilometers per hour blowing from the easterly direction, and that's going to be causing quite a bit of problems for the drivers in terms of well, the car just not being consistent depending on which way they're going. Because you look at the bottom of the track map, right? Everyone's going sort of just going in this direction mostly, and then when they're coming back, they're all going in this direction, and that means the wind is drastically changing car performance depending on which side of the track they're on. So yeah, they've got to be a little bit wary of that, and they've also got to see how these new cars react in these windy conditions, because there wasn't too much wind in Bahrain. On some days there was wind, but on most of them it was relatively sort of low wind conditions, not very strong. So yeah, the drivers will be seeing for the first time, what these huge crosswinds would do to their car. Do you think the F1 games need marshals on the track and cranes lifting the cars under a safety car? No, I don't think the F1 games really need much more to be added in. I think the F1 games are perfectly fine as is. Maybe a bit more of an accurate sort of simulation, like the handling of the cars and stuff like that. But apologies for any folks that just got any adverts there. I forgot to press the block button. Yeah, I mean, I don't play the F1 games that much. If you had to ask me for my favorite F1 game, I'd probably say it'd have to be between F1 21 and F1 2019. Yeah, maybe F1 2018 as well. Okay. What about F1 2020? I didn't have the F1 2020 game. I had 2018, 2019, and then 2021. and then I skipped 22, 23, 24, and then bought 25. Yeah. I mean, the games are all the same pretty much every year. Like, they just update the drivers. Yeah. That's why the F121 game, in my opinion, is still totally fine to play. And anyway, I just play time trial all the time, so. Track temperature's creeping up a little bit, up to 35 degrees Celsius. And loads of cars out on the track, right? This is going to be interesting. How will the chaos unfold here? With 22 cars out on the track during Q1, is there going to be loads more traffic? Is there going to be a big old queue in Sector 3? I mean, there always is a pretty big queue in Sector 3. So is that going to get even worse? How's it going to play out in circuits like Monaco and Canada, where they're really, really short? Yeah, who knows? What do you think of Merck's race pace? Well, they've been doing 123s, 124s, right, with Antonelli and Russell on the hards, and well, we've got Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc now out on hard tyres as well. So let's see what their pace is comparatively. But compared to everyone else, their Mercedes' race pace looks brilliant. Not that many drivers and teams are in the 123s. So, but they're of course going up against the Ferraris and the Red Bulls and the McLarens. We haven't really seen that much race pace from them. We can see Piastri on 7-lap old soft tyres is doing a 124 and is being able to hold that relatively consistently. So on a hard tyre, would he be able to do the same, or would he not? Like, who knows? Look at the radio. All they're doing is coordinating pit exits. Yeah. There's what they do actually is so each team in the garage, they will have on their track map, they'll have a little dot here basically saying if we let our driver out of the pit. So let's say, right, who's in the pits right now? We've got Carlos Sainz in the pits. So on the Williams garage, they will have a little track map. They'll have a little dot here, basically saying that if we send Carlos Sainz out into the pits right now, he's going to come out in between Piastri and Antonelli. And then if they send him out right now, he's going to come out just behind Antonelli. And they basically have a reference point. Now, of course, I don't know if this dot is in the correct position. It could be further up here. It could be further down here. But they have a reference point, and that is essentially how they're coordinating who comes out of the pits when. They look at it and they see, oh, there's a big old queue here, so the best way to get a free spot for my driver is to see, now Hadjar's going to go past turn number 11, and now it's time to let Carlos Sainz start driving out the pit lane, and by the time he gets to the end of the pit lane, Hadjar's already made his way past him. So yeah, there's a lot of coordination that goes on in the sort of the race control. What's it called? Yeah, like the race control of each team. Where's the overtake zone? The overtake zone's in towards turn number 1. So that is the main overtake zone. I'm pretty sure you can use it over the course of the whole lap. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Good day, F1 Gamer. Saw you last year. Happy New Year this year. Yeah. Yeah. I hope you guys had a nice winter break. Floor damage for Max Verstappen, eh? Really? Let's have a look. Can I find any more sources like this? Williams have got an issue with Carlos Sainz. So 10 laps completed for Sainz, and that's why he's still in the pit lane, because they've got an issue with this car. Yeah. And Verstappen does. So Verstappen has a big moment over turn number 10, missing the apex a little bit, running wide over the grass and gravel, and he's definitely lost some bodywork there. So seems like that is a floor issue there. And then over the radio to Lance Stroll about 5 minutes ago, box, we have an issue. So yeah, more issues, and unsurprisingly really. But if that's an issue with their battery, they could genuinely have no spare parts for Lance Stroll. Like, I don't know what they would even do. Just drive without the battery? Like, I don't know. if they drive without the battery, they're not going to make the 107% rule. So yes, I'm utterly and totally confused. Oh, that's Perez. Perez between turn 11 and 12 stopped on the side of the circuit. Seems like that might be a issue there for the Cadillac team. Yeah. Suboptimal to say the least, folks. Suboptimal to say the least. Oh no, he's managed to get going. VSC deployed, but seems like he's. Oh no, he's not managed to get going. That's Bottas. We got a bit confused there. So yes, Perez, who was sat in the pit lane with a sensor issue, has finally come out with 5 minutes left on the clock and has broken down, most likely because of a sensor issue. Yeah. Brilliant. They spent an hour trying to fix a sensor issue, clearly didn't fix it, and then sent him out onto the circuit, and the car's just broken down again. What's the percent rule that you mentioned? Basically, if you are more than 7% slower than the car in pole position, then you are potentially could get disqualified from the start of the race by the stewards because you are too slow for the Formula One grid. So yeah, essentially, like, currently the lap times are around 80 seconds for the lap, 1 minute 20, 1 minute 19, and that puts 7% at 5.6 seconds slower than pole position. So currently Piastri is up in first, and if this was to be qualifying, then Alonso would be 5.2 seconds slower than Piastri, and he would make it through. Wouldn't be considered for this disqualification. However, Lance Stroll being 6 seconds slower, he could be potentially disqualified. It's not an absolute disqualification. It depends on the stewards. Like, the stewards have to make a final decision at the end of the day, but there is potential that he could get disqualified for that. So the Mercedes are in the 1 minute 23s, everyone else is in the 1:24s. Yeah, it's so over. I mean, look, it's a bit too early to say again. Like, again, fuel loads could be different. As I said in FP1, 10 kilograms of extra weight on the car makes a difference of about 0.3 of a second per lap. So you add on an extra 10 kilograms onto the Ferrari, and we are going to have no idea if they've got an extra 10 kilograms, extra 20 kilograms, and that's an extra, half a second, 0.3 of a second right there. Isaac Hadjar, what are you doing, man? That's a lot of lawn mowing there for you, mate. Big lockup, and then yeah, lots of lawn mowing. What does the blue time mean? The blue line means the drivers come in or out of the pit lane. So you can see there, Nico Hulkenberg's got a blue line in Sector 1. That means he's just drove out of the pits. And same thing for Verstappen in Sector 3. That's he's drove into the pits. Okay, and we've got potentially a quick lap here from Norris, but I mean, this is 11 lap old soft tyres, right? It's not much of a concern. What's my F1 fantasy lineup? I haven't actually got one, to be honest. I may set one up for for tomorrow, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not really the biggest fan. Instead of the 2025 poll time, you should put the 2022 poll time since they were the new regs. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I think people are just looking for a reference point, really, of what lap times we should be looking at. So maybe I'll just put yesterday's times. Well, I'll put today's times up on the screen for tomorrow, just so you know if someone's doing a quali lap or a race run. Leclerc trying to beat Hamilton's time, lol, immediately goes back out on soft. You can tell he does not like being behind Hamilton in FP. I mean, he's out on 11 lap old soft tyres. It's much more likely that he's been sent out to figure out how the soft tyres degrade here in Barcelona, and Hamilton's been sent out to work out how the hard tyres degrade. But, sure. When it's qualifying, well, folks, right now, in 24 hours' time, we'll be finding out who's on pole position. So, yes, qualifying is in 23 hours, but in 24 hours, which is, the 1 hour qualifying session that we normally have, we'll find out who's on pole position. yes, it will be quite interesting indeed. F1 Gamer was watching FP1 now and decided to hop over here in the least weird way possible. Your voice is really soothing, podcast sort of vibe, lol. Thank you very much. Blue bells are pretty. No, I do. To be honest, I get quite a few messages about that. Even on Instagram, a few people have messaged me just to tell me that. So, well, I'm glad that you enjoy it. You could say maybe it's my voice, maybe it's my microphone. It's a Sennheiser E835. So maybe it's that. But yeah, I'm trying not to be too loud as well, given that there are a few other people that I'm living with, and I don't want to wake them up. So yeah, not shouting or anything like that. And probably tomorrow's commentary will also be very, very chill. Maybe right at the end of Q3, I'll get a little excited, but yeah, should be nice and soothing and relaxing. Hopefully, I haven't put any of you guys to sleep. But we're having lots of lockups here in Australia. Lots of drivers making mistakes, and yeah, we have got the checkered flag is out. The first driver to take the checkered flag is Franco Colapinto. Second driver Arvin Lindblad, and the rest of the drivers doing their laps around the circuit. So that is that for FP2, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now currently 6 a.m. here in the UK, which means that I'm going to do my absolute hardest to try and get some sleep, but I don't know if I actually will. But yes, I've actually got an exam. I've got an exam at 4 p.m. today, and it's now 6 a.m. So I've got a little bit of time. I've did a lot of preparation for it. So should be all right, but yeah, ideally it would be nice to have some sleep before the exam. So yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. I'm going to drop a link to the FP3 stream. It'll probably take you to the FP3 stream once the stream finishes. Actually, no, it's going to take you through to the quali stream once the stream finishes. But if you guys are interested in watching FP3, I'll drop a link in the chat for that. And FP3, there we go. Okay, so that's the link to the FP3 stream. Once the stream finishes, it'll take you over to the quali stream. If you guys could hit the like button and the reminder button on the quali stream, that would be incredible. Will just help out so much with the algorithm. And first quali stream of the season, hopefully we get loads and loads of people watching. So yeah, if you guys haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so for the quali stream, and also hit the reminder button. So I will see you in 23 hours for the quali stream and probably 20 hours for the FP3 stream. And yeah, that's about it. Everyone's going to do their practice starts, but to be honest, nothing exciting is really going to happen, and I really desperately need some sleep. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, the course that I do is mechanical engineering, if anyone was wondering. But yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button for the quali stream, and that's all from me. Yeah, have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, or night, or evening, depending on where you are around the world. Bye bye, folks. Bye bye.